Little Liam was a poor boy who had no parents. Every day, he went from one dustbin to another, picking trash to survive. He would sell plastic bottles, cans, and metal scraps just to buy a little food. Life was hard for Liam, but he had a kind heart and a sharp mind. One quiet morning, while searching through a dustbin behind a market, Liam heard a soft, weak cry. He stopped and looked around. The sound was coming from the dustbin. He slowly looked inside and gasped. There, wrapped in a thin, dirty cloth, was a tiny newborn baby. The baby looked sick, cold, and hungry. Liam was scared. He wanted to walk away. What can I do? I'm just a trash picker, he thought. But the baby's cry broke his heart. He couldn't leave it there to die. He gently lifted the baby out of the trash and noticed the baby's body was weak and cold. He needs help fast, Liam said to himself. He looked around, then remembered a small clinic not too far away. He ran there, holding the baby close. At the clinic, a nurse came out. She was surprised to see a dirty boy holding a newborn. Please help him, Liam said. I found him in the trash. He's very weak. The nurse quickly took the baby inside and gave him warm milk and wrapped him in clean clothes. She smiled at Liam, thanked him, and told him to sit and rest, but inside her heart, she had other plans. The nurse wasn't just thinking about saving the baby, she was thinking about making money. She had seen families who couldn't have children. Many of them were ready to pay a lot of money to adopt a newborn. This is my lucky day, she thought secretly. I will sell this baby to one of those families. They will pay me well. Then she looked at Liam and thought, this boy is poor, homeless, and too young to take care of a baby. He will not fight for the child. I'll just tell him to go. He will not even ask questions. But Liam was not just any boy, he was wise. As he sat on the bench, watching the nurse whisper to someone on the phone, he became suspicious. Why is she smiling like that? Why hasn't she asked me anything about the baby? Why is she acting like I don't matter anymore? He thought. Liam had a feeling that something was wrong. He remembered how the baby looked when he first found him, weak, nearly dying. That was why he brought the child to the clinic. Not because he wanted to give him away, but because he wanted the baby to live. Now that the baby was safe, he started thinking about what would happen next. He didn't trust the nurse anymore. Liam stood up and walked quietly to the door of the office. He heard the nurse talking on the phone. Yes, it's a newborn boy. Very healthy now. No one is asking questions. The boy who brought him is just a street kid. He won't be a problem. Come tomorrow with the money. Liam's eyes widened. His heart beat faster. She wants to sell the baby. He thought in shock. He knew he had to act fast. But what could a poor boy like him do? He had no power, no money. Still, he refused to give up. Liam stepped outside and ran to their neighbor, Mama Nkechi. She was kind and used to give him food sometimes since his both parents died. Mama Nkechi was just a petty trader who struggled to feed her family, but she was a kind woman. Liam told her everything, about the baby, about the nurse, and what he had just heard. Angela and her husband, Senator Paul, rushed into the police station. It was a hot afternoon, but the sweat dripping from their faces wasn't from the weather, it was from panic, fear, and heartbreak. Our baby is missing. Angela cried as soon as they entered. The police officers on duty stood up quickly. They were shocked. "Your baby is what?" one of the officers asked, confused. "How can a newborn go missing?" Angela was shaking, barely able to speak. Senator Paul held her close and turned to the officers. "Our baby was in the room this morning. My wife went in to check on him, and he was gone. The door wasn't broken, the windows were locked. It was as if he vanished." "Was anyone else in the house?" the senior officer asked. Angela nodded, her eyes red with tears. "Only our maid. But she was also in the house up till now. We all have been looking for our baby," her husband added. "Please, do something. We've waited 7 years for this child. We have to find him." The officers got to work quickly. But none of them yet knew the dark story behind Patricia, the maid who was not just a maid, but a woman with a secret plan. Patricia came into the house 6 months before the baby was born. She was polite, well-mannered, and very efficient with her duties. Angela thought she was lucky to have found such a good maid just in time. But what she didn't know was that Patricia had carefully planned everything. Patricia had heard stories from friends and online gossip sites about rich men who fell in love with their maids. Some even got the maids pregnant, married them, and kicked out their wives. That was what Patricia wanted. She didn't come for the job, she came for the position of the wife, but Senator Paul was a different kind of man. He loved his wife deeply and was not easily moved by temptation. Every time Patricia tried to wear something inappropriate or get close to him, he would scold her or ignore her completely. That made Patricia bitter. Her plan was failing. Instead of stealing the husband, she was just a maid, cleaning toilets and cooking meals. She began to hate Angela with passion. Angela was everything she wanted to be: beautiful, respected, and the wife of a powerful man. When Angela finally gave birth to a baby boy after years of waiting, Patricia's anger turned to evil thoughts. Now they had everything: a rich house, a powerful name, and a baby. That was when her evil thoughts became a wicked plan. On the morning the baby went missing, Angela had woken up late. She had been exhausted from the night's feeding. Patricia had offered to make her breakfast and told her to go rest. Angela stayed in bed for another hour. During that time, Patricia entered the baby room quietly. She wrapped the baby gently in a blanket and carried him out of the house through the back door. She had no real plan for what to do next, only that she would make Angela and Paul suffer. Maybe she would sell the baby. Maybe she would blackmail the senator later. All she knew was, she had taken what they loved the most. Back at the station, the police took quick action. They visited the mansion and searched every corner. Patricia's room was empty. Her phone was off. Her clothes were gone. She had vanished. "That maid planned this," one officer said. "She must have been watching them all this time." Angela collapsed in tears when she realized it was true. "I trusted her. I gave her everything," she cried. Senator Paul clenched his fists. "She won't get far." The police placed an alert on Patricia across the entire state. They checked cameras, airports, bus parks, and contacted local stations. Every available eye was looking for the evil maid and the stolen newborn. "Mama and Catchy! Mama and Catchy!" Liam shouted, out of breath. "What is it, Liam?" she asked, looking surprised. He pulled her aside and told her everything. From the moment he found the baby in the dustbin to how he had taken him to the clinic, then he told her what he had heard. Mama Nkechi's eyes widened. She wants to sell the baby. That nurse has the devil inside her, she said. Without waiting, she grabbed her headscarf and said, "Let's go." The clinic was quiet when they arrived. The nurse was inside. When she saw Mama Nkechi storm in with Liam, her face changed. "Good evening," the nurse said, trying to keep her calm. "Give us the baby," Mama Nkechi said without blinking. "Sorry?" the nurse replied, pretending not to understand. "I said give us the baby, and don't play smart. You were not the one who found the child. This boy did. You didn't save him, he did. You have no right to keep him or talk about selling him behind our backs." The nurse's hands began to shake. She looked around, afraid. She hadn't expected anyone to find out, especially not a bold woman like Mama Nkechi. "I wasn't really going to sell him. I was just talking, don't lie to me," Mama Nkechi snapped. "You think because he's a poor boy, no one will stand for him. I am standing here. If you don't want trouble, hand over the baby." Now, the nurse, afraid of being reported or arrested, quickly brought out the baby. The baby had fallen asleep, unaware of the danger he had been in. Mama Nkechi took him gently. She looked at Liam and nodded. "You did the right thing, my boy. Don't worry. Tomorrow morning, we'll go to the police and tell them everything. This baby cannot end up in the wrong hands again." Liam felt a huge weight lift off his chest. The maid was caught trying to escape from town. All eyes were on her. She sat slouched in the cold, metal chair of the police interrogation room. Her face was swollen from crying, her voice hoarse from hours of questioning. At first, she had denied everything. But when the officers became firm, she finally broke down. "Yes," she said. "I stole the baby. I took him from his room. Where is the baby now?" One of the officers asked sternly. Patricia began to tremble. I didn't know what to do. I got scared. I panicked. I thought I'd hide him, then call someone to help sell him. But then I thought he was crying too much. Someone might hear. So I left him in the dustbin." "You what?" one officer shouted. Angela, who was listening from outside the room with her husband, let out a loud cry and collapsed onto the floor. Senator Paul rushed to hold her, his face pale, his hands shaking. "No, no." Angela shouted, her heart breaking into pieces. "It's been almost 2 days. There's no way that baby's still alive," one officer said. Even the strongest among them looked down in shame and pity. No one wanted to say it out loud, but the silence spoke clearly. "The baby is gone." Senator Paul sat down heavily on the bench, staring at the wall. "We waited 7 years for this child," he said in a broken voice. 7 years. For this? But one officer stood up. "Let's go to the dustbin anyway. Let's check. We need to confirm." They moved quickly. A police van, Angela and her husband, and 2 officers drove straight to the location the maid described, the large public dustbin. The air was filled with the smell of rotten smoke. The officers approached the bin carefully. It was empty, nothing, not a single sign of a baby. Just torn nylon bags and the usual waste. Angela looked into the bin and broke down. "He's gone." He's really gone. One officer looked confused. Maybe someone already cleared this bin, or. Another said slowly, maybe someone saw the baby and picked him up. Senator Paul raised his head. Someone picked him, yes. That's the only hope left now, the officer replied. Angela stood up straight, tears still running down her eyes. So, our baby might be alive, we can't say for sure, said the officer. But if someone found him and had a good heart, maybe. He was taken somewhere safe. Angela and Senator Paul didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Happy that there was still a chance, sad that they didn't know where their baby was. What if the person who picked him up wants to keep him? Angela asked. What if they don't come forward? No decent person would keep a found baby without trying to report it, one officer replied. Let's not lose hope. We will send out alerts. News. Photos. Maybe someone will come forward, but Senator Paul knew the world wasn't always kind. That night, as they returned home, Angela sat in silence, clutching a baby's cap she had sewn with her own hands. If only I could see him. Just once more, and far away, in a small room, a baby slept peacefully beside Mama Nkechi. He had been fed, bathed, and comforted. Liam sat beside him, watching over the child like a guardian angel. Neither of them knew yet that the child they saved was the lost son of one of the most powerful families in the state, and neither Angela nor husband knew that their miracle was still alive, because of the courage of a poor boy and the heart of a kind woman. The sun had barely risen when Mama Nkechi wrapped the baby warmly and carried him. Liam, dressed in his cleanest shirt, walked beside her with quiet excitement. Today, they were heading to the police station, just like they promised. When they arrived, the officers were surprised to see them, but the moment they heard Liam's story, their faces lit up with both shock and relief. You mean you found this baby in the dustbin? The senior officer asked. Yes, sir, Liam said shyly. He was crying. I couldn't leave him there, Mama Nkechi added, and we brought him here because we knew it was the right thing to do. This child deserves a better life. The officer stared at Liam with admiration. You are a very brave boy. Many grown men would walk past and pretend not to see. But you stopped, and you saved a life. Immediately, the officers put a call through to Angela and Senator Paul. We believe we found your baby. Come to the station immediately. Angela didn't even wait to hang up the call before she grabbed her car keys. Senator Paul was already putting on his shoes. They sped off in their car, hearts pounding, afraid to hope, but desperate to believe. The moment Angela entered the station and saw the baby in Mama Nkechi's arms, she froze. Her mouth dropped open, her eyes filled with tears. That's my baby, she said. That's my baby. She let out a loud sob and rushed forward. Officer, this is my miracle. My child. My heart. She took the baby from Mama Nkechi's arms, cradled him, kissed his forehead, and broke into fresh tears. The baby opened his eyes and let out a soft cry, and Angela cried even more, rocking him gently. Senator Paul stepped in and placed his hand on Liam's shoulder. His eyes were moist. He cleared his throat, but his voice still cracked. You saved my son, you gave him life again. He turned to Mama Nkechi. And you, Mama. You stood by him. You did what even adults with power fail to do. God bless you. As they sat to hear more about Liam, Mama Nkechi explained how he was an orphan, surviving by picking trash, and sleeping in a little space in her house. Angela covered her mouth in shock. Senator Paul was silent for a moment, deep in thought. Then he turned to Liam, knelt down in front of him, and looked him straight in the eyes. "Liam," he said gently, "would you like to come home with us?" Liam blinked in surprise. "Home?" he asked. "Yes. Your life will never be the same again. We want you to live with us, not as a helper or servant, but as our son. You deserve a better life." Angela nodded through her tears. "You saved our miracle. We want to be your family, too. Will you let us?" Liam couldn't speak. His eyes filled with tears. He looked at Mama Nkechi, who smiled warmly and nodded her head. "It's okay, my boy," she said. "God has remembered you." From that day forward, Liam's life transformed completely. The poor boy became the beloved son of a senator. He had his own room, clean clothes, went to the best school, and most importantly, he had a family that loved him. As for Mama Nkechi, Senator Paul and Angela didn't forget her. They gifted her a large sum of money and helped her expand her food business. She opened a bigger restaurant and became known across the area. Justice was served. With all evidence and her own confession, Patricia was charged for child kidnapping and trafficking. The court sentenced her to life imprisonment to ensure she never had the chance to harm another child again.